Hey everyone, I want to take a minute to talk about timber stand improvement. Now there's different varieties of timber stand improvement that you can do. Anything from the clear cut technique to the shelter wood technique, to crop tree release, to selective cut. Uh, and as a wildlife manager, I might manage woods a little different than say a forester would. If you're looking to get back revenue from your timber, I highly suggest that you hire a forester because this is what they're good at doing. If you're looking to make money off your trees over the various years of owning your property, that's when you need to consider a forester. The biggest thing with timber stand improvement for deer and other wildlife is getting the sunlight to the ground. Whatever technique you want to use, whether that's clear cuts, selective cutting, crop tree release cutting, whatever it might be, the biggest thing is getting that sunlight to the ground. My theory is a deer lives about 6 foot and below. So anything above that is pretty much useless to a deer besides your crop trees, your mass producing trees, your soft mass producing trees like your fruit trees, your acorns, your hickory nuts, your beech nuts, all those trees. Some guys, get so focused on that they want to leave acorns, they want to leave oak trees, which is a big part of a deer's diet. But like I said, you got to keep in mind that a deer lives at 6 feet and below. And acorns only produce every so many years. That's why they're called a mass tree, because one year they will have a mass crop, some years they won't do as good. And if you have a lot of those oak trees, what you're going to get is a big canopy. And that's part of the different stages of succession in a forest. It goes through different stages of succession. And when you reach your late season or late part of that succession, your trees are usually fully mature, they're fully grown out. And what happens when you get a forest in that kind of situation is you get a big crown effect. And when you get that, you have trees blocking a lot of sunlight. So one, your acorn trees aren't going to produce because of as good as acorn crop as they possibly could, because they're all competing for that sunlight. So, and another is that you're not getting that ground vegetation on the ground because you're getting no sunlight to the soil. So for me, I want to open up as much of my woods as I can to get that sunlight on the floor. And the different stages of succession, when you have the early stage, which basically is like a clear cut, you're starting from scratch. As those plants and things start to grow again, you're providing up to 3,000 pounds of forage per acre. So you're going to provide the most tonnage of food per acre in that early successional stage, and you're also providing great cover. And as your successional stages continue to go further and you get into the later successional stage, you're only providing about 50 to 100 pounds of forage. So a properly managed stand of timber, whatever timber stand improvement method you want to apply, if you properly manage your timber, you can provide up to 1,500 pounds of forage per acre. And this is all the native vegetation that makes up 70% of a deer's diet. That's what deer eat majority of the time. I know when people think of habitat improvements, they want to think food plots, and all those things, supplemental feeding, which, don't get me wrong, those are good aspects of your management program, and they should be. But the backbone of your deer's nutrition is native vegetation. Like I said, that's 70% of their diet. So if you properly manage your timber, which most of us, our properties probably consist more of that timber anyways than we're going to have food plots, so to speak. If you properly manage that, you're going to be able to hold more deer naturally. You're going to be able to have a healthier deer herd, and you're going to have great cover and great structure on the ground that produces great daytime movement, good fawning cover for your fawns when they're dropping and being born. A predator's going to have to work a lot harder to find that fawn, so to speak, in a wide open park effect looking woods. And when you have that, you're not providing hardly any food for the deer at all on the ground. So just things to consider if you're thinking about starting a management program or whatever it is. Don't neglect your timber. Oftentimes this is neglected when it's, like I said, the biggest part of a deer's diet. It's 70% of their diet. It's where they spend most of their time. And if you properly manage that, you can provide all that food to where you're going to be able to naturally carry more deer. You're going to have a higher carrying capacity. You're going to be able to support that herd a lot better, and both your habitat and your deer are not going to suffer.